Swami Vivekananda was once invited by the University of Harvard to deliver a lecture on the concept of Vedic cosmology in 1896. Cosmology deals with the science of creation of the entire universe and what are the Vedic thoughts about it. Swami Vivekananda delivered a beautiful lecture on concept of Vedic cosmology, and the ideas delivered by him reached Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest scientists of modern science. Those ideas captured the attention of Tesla, and he met Swamiji and told him that this particular concept which you have told over here in this lecture, that force and matter can be reduced to potential energy and can be entertained by the theories of modern science. He also told Swamiji that he would like to give a mathematical expression for this great idea. Swamiji was happy and told Tesla that if he can do it, then he will be the happiest person in the world, because his Vedic philosophy will stand on the surest foundations of the modern scientific theory. Though he expected a mathematical expression from Tesla, unfortunately the latter could not come out with that mathematical expression about the idea that is given by Swami Vivekananda. But here we need to understand that the cosmological thought that Swami Vivekananda could explain in that lecture captured the attention of Nikola Tesla, one of the great minds of modern science, and he could understand this entire universe was created on the similar lines. Here we also need to understand what kind of science was developed at that time and what kind of scientific theory our Indian people could discover in those ancient times. What Swamiji was trying to indicate is that if Vedic philosophy could be supported by modern scientific theories, people would be more accepting of it. That was the kind of joy in Swamiji's mind. And he said in this manner that if it really happened, that if he really succeeded in giving mathematical expression to that idea, then the Vedic philosophy would stand in the bracket of modern science. This happened in 1896. But Nikola Tesla could not do it. He could not achieve it in his lifetime. But immediately after 9 years, Albert Einstein came up with a mathematical equation for this idea. In 1905, when he declared that he could find out the great thing that E equals to mc square, he was in fact proposing the idea that energy and matter are interchangeable. The theory was proposed by Einstein with the mathematical expression wherein he said E equals to mc square, where E stands for energy and m stands for matter. He could show the equivalence between them, and very amazingly. We need to understand this fact, and history has proved that in one of his discussions with his friends, Einstein said actually there was a Vivekananda from India who actually predicted this interchangeability of energy and matter. This was shared by Einstein to his friends. Indeed, recently a few years back, the Chennai Ramakrishna Mission published a book by one of the scientists from ISRO. The title of the book is Swami Vivekananda, an Intuitive Scientist. And in that book, on page 50, all the references to this particular dialogue between Einstein and his friends as to how Einstein told his friends about Swami Vivekananda are given. There was a great philosopher in Europe named Max Muller, and Einstein was under the influence of his theory. Max Muller could get all those ideas from Swami Vivekananda, and thereby he proposed there is unity in this universe. With those things in mind, Einstein proposed this great idea that energy and matter are equivalent. So we need to understand how great visionary Swami Vivekananda was. And it was not regarding just physics, he gave many such things. There is one research paper written by Swami Vivekananda which appeared in one of the American scientific journals in 1895. It is regarding the concept of ether. Those who are related to study of physics know that in those days there was a theory of ether, and everyone in the Western world was accepting this fact. They believed that there is something called ether, which acts as a medium for transmission of different kind of waves, and without this particular matter, nothing can be transported from one place to another. But we know that great experiment in the history of science was conducted by Michelson and Muller, and that great experiment went on for 6 years, from 1881 to 1886. These two scientists conducted a great experiment just to see ether existed or not. They could prove that ether did not exist in this universe, and so the concept of types of ether should be abandoned. However, Einstein could not accept that fact that there is no ether in the universe right up till 1920. In 1895, Swamiji wrote a research article on this concept of ether, which is readily available on the internet. In that article, he wrote that by taking various theories from Vedas and modern sciences, he had come to the conclusion that ether did not exist. Swamiji was a great visionary of science. He talked greatly about the theory of evolution also. He mentioned the limitations of Darwinian thought. He spoke about Darwinian thought and its beliefs on the biological and physical shifts of living things in this universe. We know that Darwin specifically gave his theory of evolution for human beings, flora, fauna, and in fact, all living organisms in the world. But Swamiji said that we needed to think about consciousness, because the human beings and everything, whatever we see and call as living thing, are full of consciousness. So what he was referring to can be understood as Chetana or Atma Tattva, as we call it in our yoga philosophical terms. Swamiji said the best theory in history of mankind was proposed by Maharishi Patanjali, who talked about the evolution of consciousness. So our Indian philosophers did not stop at physical state only, they went much beyond that. And a person like Maharishi Patanjali could give us the theory of evolution of consciousness. Swamiji mentioned that we needed to look at the theory of evolution of consciousness. Swamiji mentioned that we needed to look at the theory of evolution by Maharishi Patanjali, and he gave a lot many explanations like how Darwinian theory was limited to physical reality alone. If we want to go beyond, and if we want to know the science of Atma Tattva, the spiritual science, then that kind of evolution was explained by Maharishi Patanjali. There are much more concepts, so we need to go deeper into it and we need to understand this because so many things are happening today. People today have accepted yoga and they are trying to understand the logical framework of yoga, which is science. So even at this moment in this world, people are looking at India with great expectations that only India can provide the science of spirituality to this entire world. So we need to look into all the aspects of our Vedic philosophy as to how the world and in future how India too is going to play a well-defined role in the progress of humanity. Swamiji has given so many such messages to all of us and we need to understand all those things in detail. Swami Vivekananda was a man of action and he understood the importance of scientific progress in the modern world. He kept emphasizing that Indians should be more interested in science and they should establish themselves in this domain well. We need to understand this scientific aspect of Swami Vivekananda's personality and how he became the first great sage in this modern era by proposing that Vedic philosophy is very much related to modern scientific theories. Like this video if you find this information is useful. Subscribe this channel for the content like science and spirituality. And finally, thanks for watching.